Final Exam Review, Part 2, Consumer Math. The regular price of a color TV is $509.78. During a sale, PC Richards is selling the TV for $447.19. Determine the percent decrease in the price of the TV. So we'll start out by finding the percent change. We can find the percent change by taking the latest amount minus the previous amount divided by the previous amount. Now, this is going to give us a decimal, so we're going to multiply it by 100 to turn it into a percent. So in this example, the latest amount is the sale price, the $447.19. The previous amount is the original price, the regular price. So to find the percent change, we'll take that latest amount, the $447.19, minus the previous amount, $509.78, divided by that previous amount, $509.78. Now, that will give me a decimal, so I'm going to multiply it by 100 to get a percent. So I get a negative 12.277. I'm going to round it to the nearest hundredths of a percent. So I identify the digit in the hundredths position. The number directly to the right is 5 or more, so a negative 12.28%. But that doesn't answer the question. That's just the percent change. We want to know what's the percent decrease. So it's a 12.28% decrease. See, if the percent change was positive, it would be an increase. Since it's negative, it's a decrease. The Rodriguez family went to dinner at Past Palace. Mr. Rodriguez ordered a meal for $6.25. Mrs. R ordered a meal for $7.50. The two children ordered individual pizzas for $4.99 each. So if I add those, I get the cost of the meal is $23.73. Now they have to pay tax on that meal, and they want to leave a tip. So the tax is 7.25% of the cost of the meal. So place is with equals. Convert that 7.25% to a decimal. So I'll drop the percent sign and either divide by 100 or move the decimal point 2 places to the left, 0.0725 of its times, and that cost was $23.73. So the tax was $1.72. Now the tip, they want to leave a 15% tip. So is 15% of the cost. So it's equal to 15%. I'll drop the percent sign, either divide by 100 or move the decimal point from where it is 2 places to the left. Since there's no decimal point, we start from behind the number. So I get 0.15 of his times, and the cost of the meal was $23.73. So we're going to leave a $4.16 tip. So the total bill was the cost of the meal plus the tax plus the tip. So I get $29.61. Eight. A man borrowed $3,800 from a bank for 9 months. The bank collected 3.3% simple interest on the date of maturity. We want to know how much did the man pay for the use of the money. So what it's asking us for is to calculate the simple interest. So the formula for simple interest is principal times the rate times the time. The principal in this case would be the $3,800 that he's borrowing. The rate, all right, I need that 3.75% as a decimal. So I'll get rid of that fraction first. 3/4 is the same as 0.75, but it's still a percent. To get rid of the percent, drop the percent sign and either divide by 100 or move the decimal point where it is 2 places to the left. So I have 0.0375. Now it's an annual rate because we're not told otherwise. So I need my time in years. Well, to convert 9 months to years, you'll take the number of months, 9, and divide by 12. So 9 months is 9/12 of a year. So it's 3,800 times 0.0375 times 9 divided by 12. So I have, I'm going to round it to the nearest cent, 106.878. So identify the digit in the hundreds position. Look directly to the right. That's 5 or more, so $106.88. That's the fee for using that $3,800 for 9 months. So to determine the amount he repaid the bank on the due date of the note, it's equal to the principal, that is what he borrowed, plus the interest. Well, the principal was $3,800. The interest was $106.88. So altogether, it's $3,906.88. For 9, we're going to use the simple interest formula to determine the missing value. So the simple interest formula is I equals PRT. Well, we know that I is 99. They gave that to us. We want to find P, so I'll leave that as a variable. The rate is 6%. So we want that as a decimal, so I'll drop the percent sign and divide by 100 or move the decimal point from behind the number 2 places to the left. So it's 0.06. Now it's annual. So I need my time in years. So to go from months to years, you'll take the number of months, divide by 12. So 99 equals P times 0.06 times 9 divided by 12. So 99 equals, so if I multiply that 0.06 times 9 divided by 12, I get 0.045. Now I get P by itself. I'll divide both sides by that 0.045. So I get 2,200. For 10. Mona Lisa borrowed $5,500 for 8 months from a bank. The bank discounted the loan at 4.5%. How much interest did Mona pay the bank for the use of the money, rounded to the nearest cent? All right, so for a discounted loan, interest is calculated on the loan amount using the simple interest formula. So the P was the 5,500. The R, drop the percent sign, move the decimal 2 places to the left, 0.045. Now it's annual because we're not told otherwise. So we're going to need our time in months and years. It's in months, so to go from months to years, you'll take the number of months divided by 12. So I equals 5,500 times 0.045 times 8 divided by 12. So you find out the interest is $165. Now, since it's a discounted loan, the bank's going to take their interest right off the top. So she doesn't actually receive the $5,500. The loan amount's $5,500, but they're going to take their $165 from the top. So she'll leave the bank with $5,335. Now, they advertised a 4.5% interest, but that's on the 5,500. She doesn't actually get the 5,500. So we want to find the actual rate of interest on the money that she actually got. So use the simple interest formula. We calculated the interest that she paid as $165. But she didn't actually get the $5,500. What she got was at $5,335. We want to find the rate, and we want it to be annual because that's how we express rate. That's a default for rate, is annual. So we need our time in years. Well, we already did that. We said she's using it for 8 months or 8/12 of a year. So let's plug in what we know. 165 equals P, 5,335. We'll leave R as a variable. T is 8 divided by 12. So I have 165 equals, now I'll multiply this all out, and I get 3,556.3 667R. Then to get that R, I'll divide. So I get R equals, and I want to take this out to, let's take it to 5 decimal places, 0.04639, and then round it back to 4. So I have 0.0464. That's a rate, but we express rate generally as a percent. So I'll multiply by 100 and tack on a percent sign. So I get 4.64%. $11. MJ receives an inheritance of $8,000. He decides to invest this money in a 20-year certificate of deposit that pays 5% interest compounded semi-annually. How much will MJ receive when he redeems the CD at the end of 20 years? And we want to round our answer to the nearest cent. Okay, so what he wants to know is how much money he'll have in 20 years. At the end of 20 years. So we want to find the future amount. So the formula that we use to find the future amount, if interest is compounded, is A equals P times 1 plus R divided by N to the N times T. Okay, so our P is the money that he's going to deposit, the $8,000 that he inherited. The R, 5%. So as a decimal, take that 5 and divide it by 100. Now it's annual. He's going to leave that money in the account for 20 years. This is a 20-year certificate. So N is the number of compounding periods in 1 year. If it's compounded semi-annually, they're going to calculate the interest twice in 1 year and add it on. So I'll just plug it in. So it's 8,000 times, parenthesis, 1 plus R, 0.05 divided by N. Now, whatever your exponent key is, mine is this little caret or arrow, N times T. Now you will enter that all in one line and enter right at the end. So at the end of 20 years, MJ should have $21,480.51. 12. Robin Bird wants to invest some money now for a down payment of $10,000 on a house in the future. If she wants to have $10,000 available in 8 years, how much does she need to invest now in a CD paying 5.35% interest compounded monthly? Okay, so what she wants to find is how much should she invest now? So the present value. The present value, or sometimes it's called the original principal. So to find the present value, it's the amount that she wants it to grow to divided by 1 plus R over N to the NT. So she wants it to grow to 10,000. She's going to put it in an account that pays 5.35%. So as a decimal, drop the percent sign, move the decimal point 2 places to the left. 0.0535 She wants to leave it there for 8 years. So it's an annual rate. The time is in years. And it's compounded monthly. So compounded monthly, the N would be 12. So the amount she wants it to grow to is 10,000. Divided by, parenthesis, 1 plus 0.0535 divided by, and we said is 12. Use your exponent key, 12 times t. So we want to enter it really just like that. The 10,000 divided by, parenthesis, 1 plus 0.0535 divided by 12, close the parenthesis, use the exponent key, whatever your exponent key is, then parenthesis, 12 times 8, close that parenthesis, so I get $6,524, and if I round it to the nearest cent, so I get 317, so 32 cents. For 13. The Birds obtain a 30-year, $240,000 conventional mortgage on a house selling for $300,000. Their monthly mortgage payment, including the principal and interest, is $1,596.72. Note that the rate is 6%. We want to find the total amount they'll pay for their house. All right, well, they paid some in advance, so let's find out what that is. They paid a down payment. If the selling price was $300,000 and they obtained a $240,000 mortgage, they paid $60,000 up front. So they paid for the house was $1,596.72. They paid that 12 months a year for a total of 30 years. That's how much they paid in monthly payments. But they also paid that $60,000 right up front. So altogether, at the end of the 30 years, they paid $634,819.20. For B, let's fix that. We want to know how much of the cost will be interest. Well, you'll take the total amount they repaid. They repaid way more than the house cost. And we'll subtract the selling price of the house. So that difference would be interest. So $330,819.20. That's interest. That's just the fee for using that money. That should be, let me fix that. Okay, how much of the first payment on the mortgage is applied to the principal? All right, well, the principal is the amount that they borrowed. They borrowed the $240,000. So when they go to make their first payment, they have to pay interest on that $240,000. They've used that for a month. They have to pay a month's worth of interest. So the first month's interest just use the simple interest formula. So P, that's the money that they used. Well, they used $240,000. Now the rate, 6%. So as a decimal, be 0.06. It's an annual rate. We need our time in years. Well, they only used it for that 1 month. This is the first month's interest. So that 1 month would be 1/12 of a year. So they have to pay $1,200 in interest for using that $240,000 for 1 month. So the principal payment, that is the amount of that first payment that's used to reduce the principal, to reduce the $240,000. We'll take their payment, the monthly payment, the $1,596.72, and the bank's going to collect their interest right up off the top. So after they take their interest out, the $396.72 that's left over is what's used to reduce the balance.